Hello and welcome to Carved in Stone, where today I will be bringing you my most scientific mountain to date as I reveal my Mount Rushmore of Aerosmith albums. I'm your host, Shawn Chabam, and I'll bet nothing about that sounds scientific to you. So allow me to explain. What I did was I went and ranked every single Aerosmith song I could find that was released as part of an album, box set, soundtrack, or a B-side from 209 to 1, with 1 being the best. Then I took the average song rating of each studio album to come up with my top 4 Aerosmith albums. However, I'm going to give you an album-by-album breakdown of all eligible records. Now, I didn't break down the averages of things like soundtracks that might only have a song or two, EPs that aren't full albums, or previously unreleased tracks on box sets or compilation albums. Those songs are included in the overall song rankings, but this mountain is based on Aerosmith's 15 studio albums. So you'll see the rankings when I put them on the screen at the end for every song, but I'm only averaging out the songs that were part of studio albums. I discovered when putting this list together that there were some songs on Japanese versions of albums that I had never heard before. Again, I counted them in the overall rankings, but not the averages. I averaged the albums that I grew up on. This also doesn't include songs that were only performed live. They have to be on something that was publicly released. Did I miss some songs? Probably. But I did my best, and I don't think I missed anything that would affect my mountain rankings, so let's get to this. One more thing I should mention before we get into today's list. I am also not including remixes. So there was a Back in the Saddle remix on the One More Time EP that doesn't count. There was also, I think it was called the South Beach remix of Pink that isn't listed. It's the original Aerosmith versions of songs only. Alright, coming in last place, 15th overall, Honkin' on Bobo. This was an album full of blues covers. I wasn't anywhere near as excited as I usually am for an Aerosmith album when they came out with this one. I wanted Aerosmith originals, not blues covers. I did see them on this tour, and they only played, I think, 3 songs from this album. The average song ranking for Honkin' on Bobo is 148.9. The highest ranked song is Never Loved a Girl at 68, while the lowest is Temperature at 202. I didn't blindly rank albums today, but I'm not surprised at all that this one mathematically averaged in last place. Despite its ranking, there are some songs I recommend giving a listen. Obviously, the highest ranked song, Never Loved a Girl. Also, Baby Please Don't Go, and Stop Messin' Around with Joe Perry on lead vocals. I had heard them perform Stop Messin' Around live prior to this release. I think they played it at Woodstock 94, in fact. This was the first time, I believe, that it was recorded by Aerosmith. In 14th place, just barely edging Honkin' on Bobo by a 0.1 average, is Rock in a Hard Place, with an average song ranking of 148.8. The highest ranked song is Lightning Strikes at 84, while the lowest is Prelude to Joni at 209. Remember, this is based on 209 songs, so that tells you how fond I am of that weird track. This album was recorded without guitarists Joe Perry and Brad Whitford. They were replaced by Jimmy Crespo and Rick Dufay, respectively. This isn't the Aerosmith I'm used to, and it shows. If you're one of those people who thinks the singer is the only person who needs to be a mainstay in a band, this proves you wrong. The replacement guitarists are not up to snuff. I know they used to play lightning strikes after goals at Tampa Bay Lightning games. I don't think they've done that for years, but that's probably this album's claim to fame. In addition to Lightning Strikes, Cry Me a River is a decent track, and Bolivian Ragamuffin is pretty good. That said, if you're going to skip an Aerosmith album, this is probably one you can live without. Lucky 13 is just push play. When this album first came out, I called it bubblegum rock, which is not a compliment. I felt vindicated when I read Joe Perry's autobiography Rocks, and he basically said exactly what I said, but in his words. When you're getting your music nominated at the Nickelodeon Kids' Choice Awards or whatever it was called as a rock band, it might be time to rethink the sound you're putting out. The average song ranking for Just Push Play is 148.4, with the highest ranked song being Beyond Beautiful at 89, and the lowest ranked Avant Garden at 193. There are two nice power ballads here, Love Lies and Fly Away From Here, and the title track is pretty good too, as it humorously censors itself, and Steven Tyler sings, "They're gonna bleep it anyway." In Perry's autobiography I mentioned a moment ago, he absolutely destroys the song Trip Hoppin'. I'm not going to go into detail, give his book a read, it's great. In 12th place is Music from Another Dimension. This was Aerosmith's most recent and likely last full-length album released from 2012. What kills this album's average in this breakdown is that there is a ton of filler at the end. I'm basing this on the extended version that has 2 discs and at the end of the album gets into some weird stuff like bassist Tom Hamilton singing Up on the Mountain. That man should not be allowed near a microphone unless it's a speaking role. He's actually a pretty good interview. Oasis in the Night is another that drags this album's average down. Lead guitarist Joe Perry sings on that one. I usually like songs Perry sings. I enjoy his voice as a change of pace, and you'll see other songs where he's the vocalist ranked much higher. I already mentioned one a minute ago, but this track missed the mark. The average song ranking for Music from Another Dimension is 146.9, with the highest ranked song being What Could Have Been Love at 103, and lowest being Oasis in the Night at 194. Despite its ranking, this album does carry some solid tunes. What Could Have Been Love is a great power ballad, as is Can't Stop Lovin' You, in which lead singer Steven Tyler duets with Carrie Underwood, while Love Her a Lot and Love Triple X are more gritty Aerosmith rock and roll tracks. Number 11 is Done with Mirrors. The first album the band recorded after Perry and Whitford rejoined the band, and often overlooked as they didn't regain their popularity until they released another album I'll talk about soon. The average song ranking for Done with Mirrors is 114.1. The highest ranked song is Let the Music Do the Talking at 26, actually first recorded by the Joe Perry Project. The lowest ranked song is Darkness at 182. Two more really good tracks on this album are My Fist Your Face and She's on Fire. You know, I'm not going to shy away from the fact that some of the ways Steven Tyler's daughter, Liv, has been used to support Aerosmith are super creepy. I remember watching a behind-the-scenes look at the making of the video Crazy while She's on Fire plays, and Liv is shown in slow-mo looking sexy. Yeah, it's weird that he lets his daughter be sexualized to promote his band. I admit that. It doesn't change my love for his music. Now we're on to the top 10. Night in the Ruts. This was the last Aerosmith album of the 70s, and the final before Perry and Whitford left the band for a period. The band was really struggling with drug addiction at the time, which ultimately led to their breakup and loss of popularity. Probably the reason this doesn't get ranked lower is because there are only 9 tracks on it, so there weren't a ton of tunes to drag its average down. The average song ranking for Night in the Ruts is 111.3. At 28, the highest ranked song on Night in the Ruts is No Surprise, while the lowest is Cheesecake at 165. If you rearrange the first letters of the first and last words of this album, it becomes Right in the Nuts. If you were wondering, yes, that was intentional. I'll throw out 2 more songs to give a listen to here, Shangri-La's cover Remember Walking in the Sand and Chiquita. I really like that Chiquita has an older sound on the track, It almost sounds like they recorded it all in the studio in one take rather than remixing and all of that, and that's a good thing. I was a little surprised to see this next one ranked at 9. Blindly, I'd have ranked it better. Permanent Vacation. This is the album that really brought Aerosmith back. Well, that and teaming with Run DMC to re-record Walk This Way, but that song is not on the album. The average song ranking on Permanent Vacation is 88.6. The highest ranked song is Ragdoll at 17, and the lowest ranked, and here's what kills the album's average when broken down mathematically, is The Movie at 206. 3 really popular songs on this album, the aforementioned Ragdoll, Angel, and Dude Looks Like a Lady. Other than those 3 that pretty much everyone knows, the title track and Heart's Done Time are 2 fun standout tunes. In 8th, with an average ranking of 84.9, is Draw the Line. The highest ranked song on this album is the title track, Draw the Line, a killer song at 5. The lowest ranked is Milk Cow Blues at 157. Draw the Line, the song, is one of, if not my favorite Aerosmith song to hear live. It is just so good in concert. At least once or twice they've started this song, played something else, and then finished it. A lot of times I hate that when a band reprises a song. For some reason, I love it for Draw the Line. Another great song is Kings and Queens, and I'm again going to suggest another Joe Perry vocal, Bright Light Fright. 7th, Got to Get a Grip. That's right, Get a Grip. This album exploded with popularity, and a big part of that was thanks to music videos. Get a Grip was released in 1993, when you could still catch videos on MTV. The average song ranking for Get a Grip is 78.1. The highest ranked song is Crazy at 12, while the lowest ranked is Boogeyman at 203. I've mentioned in previous episodes that I'm not a big fan of music without words. Sometimes when there's a great guitar or drum solo, I do like it, but Boogeyman kills this album's average as it's a boring instrumental. As far as the other songs go, so many good ones. Obviously Crazy. I'm probably in the minority of people who prefer that over Cryin', another great track. Then there's Livin' on the Edge, Amazing, and Eat the Rich. Honestly, there's no bad song on this album. The lackluster instrumental kills the average. Like I said, videos helped Get a Grip immensely. Alicia Silverstone was in 3 videos, while Liv Tyler also pitched in. While I do love the videos, the music is what makes this album for me. Just because I know how popular these videos are, let me say, of the big 3, Cryin', Crazy, and Amazing, the one that blew up the most, Cryin', is my least favorite of the 3. I think the other 2 videos were better. That said, all 3 were great. This might make some fellow diehards' heads explode. In 6th place is 9 Lives. I've always loved this album. It's not Aerosmith's most popular. Most would rank Get a Grip higher than 9 Lives. The fact that 9 Lives didn't have a musical throwaway track really helped its average. The average song ranking for 9 Lives is 60.2. The highest ranked song on 9 Lives is Hole in My Soul at 14, with the lowest being Crash at 134. Another album where every song rocks. It didn't have the commercial singles that Get a Grip had, but it had unabashed Aerosmith rock and roll. I recommend all songs, but I'll focus on a couple here with more unique sounds. Full Circle and Ain't That a Bitch. They just sound like songs that the whole pub can get together and sing in unison while holding up a pint. Others that were popular with fans included Pink and Falling in Love is Hard on the Knees. We're into the top 5, which means just barely missing out on Mount Rushmore today, is the album that came in 5th place, the band's self-titled debut album, Aerosmith. The average song on Aerosmith is 56.4. The highest ranked song is Dream On at 2, while the lowest ranked is Somebody at 110. On any given day, my top 3 songs could rank in different order. I'll get into that more later. This album didn't blow up immediately. In fact, it took 3 albums for Aerosmith to really hit their stride as far as fame went. They actually re-released Dream On as a single when they started to go mainstream. It's such an incredible song. Steven Tyler had all the faith in the world in it, and rightfully so. Mama Kin, Movin' Out, and Write Me a Letter are all songs that have a really nice, rough feel to them. They're not overproduced, which I love. They sound like they recorded everything at one time. Also, check out the Guns N' Roses cover of Mama Kin. It rocks too. Alright, we're at number 4, which means it's time for a mountain reveal. At number 4, Aerosmith's second studio album, Get Your Wings. The average song ranking on Get Your Wings is 54.4. The highest ranked song is Same Old Song and Dance at 7. The lowest ranked song is Pandora's Box at 109. Drummer Joey Kramer gets a rare writing credit on the song Pandora's Box, which also became the name of an Aerosmith box set. Now, I said earlier that it was Aerosmith's third album that was where the band hit its stride, and Get Your Wings is their second, but that was hitting their stride commercially. This album was underappreciated at the time, but looking back, it's exceptional. Train Kept a Rollin', originally performed by Tiny Bradshaw, is Aerosmith at their absolute rocking best. Lord of the Thighs and Woman of the World are slowed down just enough, but still rock, and make you appreciate the lyrical genius of Steven Tyler, while Seasons of Wither is a calming track amidst the rock. Number 3, with an overall song ranking of 50.22, is Rocks. I had to round 2 decimal points for this one, because if I only rounded 1, this and the album at number 2 are tied at 50.2. A lot of people consider Rocks to be Aerosmith's best work, and I have no argument with you if you feel that way. It truly is a masterpiece from start to finish. The highest ranked song on Rocks is Back in the Saddle at 4, while the lowest ranked song is Combination at 148. Yet again, not a bad song here. Everything is dynamite. Last Child, Sick as a Dog, and Lickin' a Promise are all classic Aerosmith rock tunes. Home Tonight wraps up the album on a softer note, but doesn't feel like they're leaving you with a depressing or sour taste in your mouth. It really is unbelievable. It's only 9 songs and about 35 minutes long, which wasn't unusual in 1976, but it is an amazing 35-minute experience. Like I said, if you rank this number 1, I don't blame you one bit. For me, it gets the bronze. So which album brings home the silver? That would be Pump. With an overall song ranking of 50.20, giving you 2 decimal points because of what I just explained on the tie with Biss and Rocks. The highest ranked song on Pump is Love in an Elevator at 6, while the lowest ranked song is Young Lust at 99. What really saved this album in the ranking system that I applied today is that even though there are some weird intros, they aren't their own tracks, so they didn't count for the averages. For example, Dulcimer Stop is listed as the same track as the other side. If Dulcimer Stop were its own track, it would considerably drag down the average. Speaking of the other side, I won 5th row tickets to an Aerosmith show at the then E-Center in Camden, New Jersey, thanks to that song. On the defunct 94.1 WYSP, they held a contest where they named a song, and if you were the lucky caller, you had to name the album the song was on. They did this for rows 1 through 5, starting at 5, so I was the first winner. Someone did get in before me, but didn't know the answer. Of course, I wanted front row, but I wasn't about to wait and possibly never get through calling. I didn't hear any of the other calls that day, but I do remember talking to the people who won the second row tickets, and I was a little angry that I thought I had a tougher song than they did. Their song was Living on the Edge, and they had better seats than I did, even though I had the harder song. Anyway, again, every song's a winner, particularly in addition to the ones I've already named, Janie's Got a Gun, Fine, and What It Takes. And that brings us to number 1 today. If I ranked these albums blindly, this would have still been the top album to me. I absolutely love it. Every song is a classic. I've teased it already. Aerosmith's third album, Toys in the Attic. The average song ranking for this album is an astonishing 30.4. The highest ranked song is Sweet Emotion at 1, and the lowest ranked is You See Me Crying at 62. I said earlier that the top 3 songs could change order on any given day. This album sees 2 of the top 3, with Walk This Way coming in 3rd overall, while the title track, Toys in the Attic, rounds out the top 10. That's right, this album has 3 songs in the top 10, and another in the top 15, Big 10-inch record, a smirking cover song at 13. Any order you were to put these songs in, I don't think I'd argue with you. This album is that good that you could just arrange the songs however you like. Not a second of this isn't absolutely classic. I love Toys in the Attic. This is my second favorite album of all time, behind only Appetite for Destruction by Guns N' Roses. I've already called out more than half the songs by name, so I won't say any others. Just give this a listen if you haven't heard it or if you haven't listened to it for a while. It's one of the best classic rock records ever. Not a negative thing to say about it for me. Let's get off the mountain for a minute to review everything as a whole. As the overall song rankings go by on your screen, you'll probably notice a lot of originals from Pandora's Box. It was a compilation box set that included Aerosmith's biggest hits at the time, but also included a lot of early outtakes and rarities. It wasn't a studio album, even though you will see a bunch of songs that were originally released on that box set. I didn't think it should count. There's a reason most of those tracks were previously unreleased. I consider them bonus tracks. I feel the same way about any other compilation album with 1 or 2 originals. For example, Big Ones and Devil's Got a New Disguise. This podcast is an independent fan creation and is not affiliated with, endorsed, or sponsored by Aerosmith, Columbia Records, Geffen Records, Universal Music Group, any band member, or their associates. Images of band members are sourced from Wikimedia Commons under appropriate licensing. Album cover art is shown under fair use for commentary and criticism. I want to explain one more thing before I sign off. Maybe I already explained or implied some of it, but I'll go into more detail here. Sometimes I think about what questions I would have from an outsider's perspective and try to preempt that by telling you why I did something the way I did with my rankings. To be honest, and probably nobody noticed this, but I mentioned earlier that Music from Another Dimension encompasses songs from the deluxe version. Every other album is just the original. The first version of Music from Another Dimension that I ever heard was the deluxe version. I feel like the band promoted it as part of the original release. I remember Tom Hamilton saying he was nervous about singing on it, as he should have been. His voice blows. Anyway, other albums that had multiple versions were all international. There are a couple of Japanese versions, including songs that I didn't even know existed before I started researching for this episode. So, if the band, and more so the record companies, didn't have the confidence to even put out those versions with the songs included out in the States, I don't feel they should have counted today. Well, that's that. Like I said at the start, this was the most scientific episode of Carved in Stone to date, and it will probably be the most scientific ever, unless I do this with another band. Van Halen is a definite possibility one day. To review my Mount Rushmore of Aerosmith albums, in 4th, Get Your Wings, 3rd, Rocks, 2nd, Pump, and 1st, Toys in the Attic. That album is brilliant. I hope you enjoyed. I will see you next time. Go Birds!